This is Via Voices, the podcast that brings you insights from the champions of international education. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts, and together we'll uncover the stories behind impactful global learning experiences and the professionals who make them possible. How do we reshape futures through international education? Girish Ballolla, founder and CEO of GenNext Education, has been asking that question for years and answering it in bold, innovative ways.
It doesn't have to be that you have to go start a business, that you have to launch your own company, right? I'm always telling students and anybody that listen to me to be entrepreneurial.
From an aspiring geneticist to global education advocate, Girish is now transforming how international student recruitment gets done across India, the Middle East, and Africa. By leveraging technology and AI, he's building smarter, more purpose-driven connections between institutions and students and changing the game for good. Hi, Girish. Welcome to the Via Voices podcast.
Hey, Brooke. Good to see you.
Should we admit that this was totally impromptu and you're not prepared at all?
Absolutely, 100%. But I'm always prepared.
Yes, you are. You are a podcaster in your own right. Give a little shout out to your podcast.
Destiny Benders.
Yep.
You can find that on all the podcast available stations out there. So
and
check
I'm
it out.
going to be invited.
You're going to be there soon?
Yep. See, 100%. I was waiting to get you on camera saying I'm invited.
Quid pro quo. Something that we know a lot about now.
I know this story and I love it. Tell me your international education story. How did you get into this world?
Oh, wow. How much time do we have?
I know. We don't have the whole story.
We'll keep it short.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in India. So I moved here when I was 18 to go to college, Rock Chalk, baby.
Rock Chalk.
So the whole experience of coming here as an international student, getting the experiences I had, kind of helped me really realize what my real talents were. And I came to go to pharmacy school. I'm not a pharmacist.
You would be a terrible pharmacist.
Standing behind a pharmacy counter.
Not talking to people all day?
Exactly.
That is crazy.
And just the exposure to that, and then just the opportunities on campus that led me to do a master's in higher ed, which then ended up in an opportunity at the University of Minnesota and then corporate America for a few years, till I realized that my big impact and what I wanted my legacy to be was to help other students realize the same opportunities that was afforded to me. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started GenNext. And over the last 15 years, we're almost 15 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Next month is our 15th anniversary. And over the last 15 years, we've really done a lot in terms of exposing students around the world to opportunities for global education, to realize their own talents, their skills, and then how that translates to the world of work. It's been an amazing journey. We're privileged to work with hundreds of universities around the world. And, we started out working in India with Indian students, but now we're active in Africa, in the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. And when the pandemic hit, we went virtual like everybody else. Technology is a great thing. And because of that, we were able to expand into 175 countries around the world. So from an impact standpoint, it's a meaningful industry to be a part of, but our work specifically has been so rewarding and satisfying. So it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. 15 years.
Yeah, I know.
I really hope for
And I'm only 25.
I know. You started this as a child. I really hope you break out the life-size cutouts of you that are in
No, let's
Bangalore.
not talk about that.
You have to. For the 15th anniversary, you got to get some
I don't know
selfies
where those
with that
are.
guy. Yeah.
No. We did away with all of that.
Yeah. No, that was great.
I forgot about those.
I have a picture with
I
the
know.
cutout.
I actually have your picture with me, which is not me.
Yeah. Obviously, you have really embraced technology in your work, which, traditionally was kind of, recruiters get on a plane, they go meet students, and you really embrace the idea of how can we leverage technology to make that more scalable, more open, right? Yeah. You can't visit every city and school in India, right? Tell me a few ways that you, in the last couple of years, you guys have really amped up your technology use in your work.
Let me first just say, getting on a plane and going to visit those students and their families are important.
Yes.
But you can't be every place. I think technology is a great boon for that. The pandemic got people used to using technology, which was very good. There's so many different ways you could leverage technology, particularly the last couple of years leveraging AI with the explosion of AI. Last year, we were the first ones to launch or we should say, we launched the world's first AI-powered college and career counselor called College Genie last year. Based on the success of that and the advancements in AI, we're now poised to deploy a series of AI-powered tools over the next 3 to 4 months, addressing many of the challenges that exist within the international education ecosystem. On one hand, it's engagement. How do you engage with people around the world all at the same time, especially in their native languages, which is difficult to do from just your static websites? So, leveraging AI conversational agents that we're developing for some of our university partners, to addressing bottlenecks in the system. For example, we're about to launch an AI tool that'll convert a foreign transcript to a US GPA with the click of a button.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine
That is amazing.
Right. Imagine the number of hours somebody sits in an office at a university campus trying to just convert grades.
Yeah.
So we're about to launch that in the next
That's
10
so
days.
cool.
And then we're about to launch another predictive analytics tool to help universities kind of cull the number of applications they get to a more manageable number based on pattern recognition and some predictive analytics, so that they can focus on who based on the AI technology, we can predict which student they may accept or admit and who will actually matriculate to campus and what their persistence may be on campus. So it's all pattern recognition. So doing that. And then everything in between, whether it's, like I said, engaging constituents out there or making sure that everybody has access to resources. Take, for example, AIEA. We could easily build AI-powered tools for AIEA to engage its constituents around the world or disseminate information that's relevant to our industry. So lots going on. And I think the next iteration of AI that I'm really, really excited about now is the agentic AI that's coming out, which will make things even more easier for us to manage from a work standpoint. It's really exciting. I think maybe because I'm an Indian, we have this gene that's built into all of us. You're required.
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan of technology, and especially if we can leverage technology to help as many people around the world access the opportunities they need. Things are changing so fast in the world of work, in the world of politics. How do you create an ecosystem where more and more people can access the resources they need to prepare themselves for the world of work that's constantly changing? So our whole focus has been future readiness. It's interesting because when I launched the company in 2010, the slogan I came up for Gen Next was, "Are you future ready?" It's been on everything that we've printed for 15 years. Now it seems to be like the
People
topic.
are like, oh yeah, future, that's important.
Ready, right? So I challenge my team, challenge everybody we work with. I challenge myself every day going, how are we future ready and how are we getting our constituents future ready, whether it's a university or a counselor or more importantly, the student and their family. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah, that is really cool. Pulling on that string a little bit, obviously technology is powerful. It's super important. But at the same time, I've had the rare, unique opportunity to see you in action in India.
Yeah.
And you're like a rock star. We go into these high
I don't know about
schools
that.
and these young people are just so inspired. They all want to meet you. You have they're all clamoring around you to get a selfie and just to be able to talk to you one-on-one. How do you see technology being able to replicate that energy that you're able to create in that auditorium with those students?
That's a brilliant question. You see me, right? That's what I thrive on. I love being there with the students, and it's so meaningful for me to be able to be at those schools around the world and talking to students and encouraging them to dream big and take risks and all of that. It's interesting. That's a really interesting question to ponder, because on one hand, I would leave every one of those school visits realizing that I may never go back to that school. I may never see that student, hoping that just that 1 hour interaction I had with them would spark something in them, right? Hopefully made some difference in their life. But I always kept wishing if I could go back, or if I had, how many more students like that I'm not interacting with. So I used to joke about cloning myself so I can send people everywhere. When we launched College Genie last year, it's an AI-based tool, but I really built it in my own self, almost very egotistical sounds like.
It's
But it
built in your image,
wasn't,
yeah.
yeah, not in my image per se, but more my
Uh-huh.
philosophy, my approach to counseling and how students should be exploring. And that was really exciting. So now I know right now students and counselors are using College Genie around the world in their native languages, which I know for a fact I can't speak with them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In
of
those
course.
languages. So that's a start, right? So now I still relish, I still cherish the opportunities to go to schools, talk to students, which I continue to do still. But now I'm looking at futuristic AI tools, creating AI avatars, right? So, yes, it's not me. Can it be a close second?
Yeah.
Like, could I deploy an AI avatar of me knowing everything that I know and addressing things the way I would approach, right? Which would be taught or trained, you should say, on anything that I've written or anything that I would,
Yeah.
write. And could that potentially, in some way or form,
Yeah.
give students somewhere in the world that I would never go to
Yeah.
an opportunity to interact with me? And it's not just about me, obviously, but in this case, I'm talking about me and my desire. Take that and apply it in education, right? How can we get these exceptional faculty from around the world? How can we get AI twins of theirs to do that for students around the world, right? So that's what's exciting.
I've tried out a tool where
Yeah.
it does a
Yeah.
full blown avatar of you and, fed it some old podcast episodes and
Yeah.
different blog posts and things
Yeah.
just to see. And I was unnerved
Yeah.
by how accurate it
Yeah.
was.
It's pretty cool.
It's really creepy,
Yeah.
but also it's exciting, but also like unnerving at the
Yeah.
same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could probably do a whole part 2 on like leveraging AI for good versus evil kind of conversation about, how it could be
Yeah.
abused and
Yeah.
things, but we'll leave that for another conversation.
Yeah, I mean, no, I do want to address that real
Yeah, yeah.
quick. Yeah, it's a reality,
Yeah.
right? As with anything, there's going to be some ill effects, some negative effects of it, some unscrupulous players using it for ill gains or whatever. That doesn't mean that we run away from it or we shy away from it, right? So if we can get ahead of it, build and deploy tools with the right philosophy, right ethics, integrity, and some guardrails, then we're showing the world how it can be used for good. And there are always going to be those people who are going to come out with the bad side of things. You
Yeah.
can't do anything about it. But if you can overwhelm the system with good,
Yeah.
hopefully, just like life, right? If
Yeah.
you can overwhelm your life and the country and the people and the society with more good than
Yeah.
evil, then we should come out better at the end.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I want to shift gears a little bit and
Yeah.
talk more about the profession of international education. Obviously, you've built a team over many years and worked with obviously a lot of institutions. What do you think is one of the most valuable professional development experiences you want all of your team to have, for instance?
So many things, right? I mean, this goes back to what you said earlier. Technology is there, it's going to take up a lot of space. How do you, in spite of technology, how do you get the human to human interaction going, right? I cherish these opportunities. I mean, I haven't seen you in a few months or maybe almost a year now since last year. It's great. We could chat on the phone, text, WhatsApp, whatever, but it doesn't replace this,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't replace this, being at a conference. So for practitioners in the industry, I think being at gatherings like these to interact with people and to spend that time, I think it's so meaningful and so influential and inspiring. So I try to do that for our team as much as possible, right? So create opportunities where they get to interact with people in the industry from all parts of the world. And I would say that's the first thing I would recommend anybody who wants to be in this industry to try to seek out such opportunities, whether it's a conference like this or the big ones like NAFSA and EAIE, or even small regional events. Any opportunity you get, I think that's the best way to kind of understand what's going on around the world and learn from it. Besides that, I mean, I think, again, technology will play a role
Yeah.
trying to figure out how can we, again, enhance access to the resources and the information that people need to do their jobs or do their jobs better. How do we leverage technology there, right? So, again, those are the kinds of things I
Yeah.
think about. how do we build an agent that can take everything in the international education practitioner guides out there and make it easily accessible at at their
Yeah.
fingertips on a phone in their own language. Like, how cool would that
Yeah,
be?
yeah.
So those are
Yeah.
the kinds of things that excite me.
Yeah, one thing we talk a lot about at VIA is we don't think that people went into international education because they're like, you know what, I love a spreadsheet. I want to check off a list of administrative tasks that I want to do. And so the more we can eliminate that or make it easier, faster, et cetera, the more we can do the things you want to do. You want to talk to the student.
Exactly.
You want to build the great program, right?
Exactly.
And you don't want to be like, did I get their passport photo or not?
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's like getting
There's
back
still
to the
some of that you have to do.
well,
right?
it's all important, but you can streamline it in a much
I'll give you an
better way.
example that reminds me of something. When we first launched College Genie last year, the initial hesitation, reluctance came from college counselors around the world. Their initial reaction was, "You're going to take my job. Like, you're going to put me out of my job because you've now created a counselor that can address any question that the student has." So I have been still, when I speak with counselors, assure them that what College Genie can do is address the first maybe 20 or 25 questions a student would usually have.
Yeah.
Which, if you were doing it, one, you don't have the bandwidth to cater to all of your students.
Right.
You don't have the bandwidth to cater to younger students, right? You're only addressing a small population. You should be starting at a 6th or a 7th or an 8th grade. You can't do that because it's humanly impossible. So how can you leverage a tool like that? And then when it's your opportunity to interact with the student and you're now bringing your humanness, your expertise, address the 26th question on.
Right.
Which is really the meaningful work you're doing with the student, not the little search and the filter. Let's go look up which university has the best basketball team in the world. I mean, Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you address it that way, and you try to get people to understand there are good ways to use technology that will actually make you more. I honestly think that if a counselor were able to do that, they would enjoy their job even more.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're doing what they really got into the business to do, as opposed to collect the passport picture or do this.
Well, because I think too, that's like I know you were joking, but like to the best basketball program, and you're a kid in India.
I'm not joking.
No, but like pharmacy, pharmacy school, what have you, and thinking like, well, obviously there's like the technical things that the bot could answer. That's just straight up knowledge. But then getting to the core of like, well, what's the experience you're hoping to have on a college campus? What kind of environment do you want to, and really getting more to the feelings and the emotions of things that AI is I think still far away from being able to really process. And
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I think
it
lets the advisor get to like the meat. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to do a couple of rapid fire.
Okay.
So what was the last book you read and how did it influence how you see the world?
I am reading actually a book right now called Nexus, Yuval Harari, and it is talking about the entire world of how communication started in the world and all the way leading up to AI.
Oh.
So it's really interesting. I just started reading it, so I'm really interested to see what he talks about.
I want you to dream a little bit.
Okay.
So there are no technological, geographic, or financial limitations.
Yeah.
And you could solve one problem in international education. What would it be?
Wow. So many things we could solve. I think the first thing I would address is to do away with the current model of education.
All right.
Okay. So my dream is to launch my own university someday.
Okay.
You know I'm a dreamer, right?
Yeah.
I dream a lot. But that's what I would do. Completely change how we are putting students in an educational system that's taking out creativity, that's limiting their opportunities, while the world is changing so rapidly. So we're not preparing for them for that world, because we're still thinking about the world as used to be 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. So we need to completely scrap this model and start a whole new system of education.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So where do I get the money?
Yeah, exactly. So you would get the money to overhaul education.
Done.
Finally, last question.
Yeah.
You've obviously chosen to go the more entrepreneurial route in international education, which is wonderful, and you're doing
It's the
amazing.
Indian in me.
Yeah, we're doing great work. Yeah. But thinking about people, just starting their career or really have an idea or curiosity about doing their own thing, what's a piece of advice you'd have for that person who wants to maybe start their own business or get involved in a startup in our space?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be that you have to go start a business, that you have to launch your own company, right? I'm always telling students and anybody that listen to me to be entrepreneurial. What does entrepreneurial mean? You're either identifying a problem or a challenge in the market and you're trying to address it. And how do you address it? Some do it with a product, some do it with a service, could be an idea in this case. So it doesn't matter. You could be an entrepreneur that wants to start a company like I did with Gen Next, or you could be an entry-level employee in an ISSS office at a university. You could be innovative, you could be resourceful, you could be creative, and you could be critical and say, how do I solve a problem that I see every single day? And maybe in that case, you're not saying, I'm going to go start a company and try to make money and all of that. That's secondary.
Yeah.
Like profit is a secondary motive. But if you could do that, again, it doesn't matter. Maybe someday that'll become a business idea.
Yeah.
Or you could have just made a huge impact in your office, and then you take that and share at the conferences, and then you're making an impact in every other office out there. That's how you change a system by being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Everybody thinks when they hear entrepreneur, they're like, oh, I'm not entrepreneurial because I don't want to go start a business and I don't have the chops for it. I'm risk averse, whatever.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It's just like you said, problem solution,
Simple.
If you solved any kind of problem, you've got the entrepreneurial
Yeah.
chops. Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Girish.
My pleasure.
For coming
Thank
and
you.
being on the show.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.